Alright, we're back here at the workbench. Before we lay out the locations of the screws, one of the things that's suggested to do is draw on your boards the hidden lines as you can see in your top view here. To do that, let's find the center of the piece. The top shelf is 28 inches, so that'll be 14. If you also look, you'll notice that is a screw location. From that point, I'm going to measure over 11. Now, why did I come up with 11? That's where the backboard will intersect, and 11 is half of 22. So I got one side marked. Be accurate with this. In fact, it's almost suggested to use a steel ruler, but if you have a tape measure, that works too. From these 2 points, use a tri-square, draw the line across. That'll give us the inside of our 2 brackets. Our brackets are 3/4 of an inch wide, so I'm going to measure from there over 3/4 and draw another line. So a little bit extra on layout. However, it's going to make sure that you get all the screws in the right location. Back to the plan. We have the one screw that's at 14 in the center. We have our other screws are 5 inches from each end. Looking here on the side brackets, one screw is 1 inch in from the back, 2 inches in from the front. Now I'll show you a little trick to find the center point. Think about the combination square. This backboard is 3/4 of an inch thick. We need to drill right in the center of it so it doesn't split it out. Think about the measuring and math unit we did earlier this year. We want to split 3/4 in half. You do that by doubling the bottom number. Remember, it's the opposite to the bottom number, so 3/4 split in half is 3/8. And what I'm doing is setting this, locking it down to 3/8. Position the combination square on that mark and draw a little cross sign or plus sign. I will do the same thing. I'll measure the distance to the center on each side and put the marks. And finally, I want to refer to the plan and mark out the locations for the side bracket screws. Before we go over the drill press, though, we want to take our backboard and position it right on our piece and double check. Can you see any of my marks? No, you can't. That means they will all be drilled into the backboard. So double check this before you go over to the drill press. Alright, we're over here at the drill press. We're going to set up to drill our screw locations. First thing you want to do is get the table set to the correct height. Remember, that's about 1 inch or 2 below, or above, excuse me, so you raise the table up. There's about 1 inch. And don't forget to relock it in the back. Next thing you want to do is we want to drill about half to 1/3 of the way through. Or in our case, it's the depth of the Forstner bit. This is where a partner is going to come into play, because I've got to hold the board into position, and somebody's going to need to set the depth stop. So I'll bring my partner in, and I'm holding it in position. He's going to lock the collar. At that point, he's setting it at 0, and that's where it'll stop. Right there. And I want to double check. It's locked, it only drills. It's set about 1/2 to 1/3 of the way through. So now that the depth is set, the next thing we want to do is get the position located. And since all these screws are exactly the same depth or distance from the back side of the board, instead of clamping and moving individually, let's use the fence system. We showed this to you in the demonstration. And again, the buddy system or the partner will help out. I'm holding the board down, and I'm holding the fence against there. And my partner then will clamp the fence into position. Alright, now that everything's clamped, I'm going to go ahead and line my first board up, or hole up. Slide it down to the next one. While we still got the fence set up, we want to utilize this for the backboards, or bracket boards. So let's go ahead and drill those holes. Alright, we're finished up with the drill press. So I checked out a cordless drill and installed a 1/8 inch bit. The Forstner bit has left a center point in the counterbore. We're going to use that hole as that point as a reference to drill the pilot hole.
Okay, now we're coming over to the bandsaw. We're going to cut out our brackets. First, we're going to cut these apart down the middle, and I've got a helper who's going to come over here and help me do that. Okay, now that we have these apart, we're going to go ahead and cut our curves. Now, remember, when you're cutting curves, you should be using relief cuts. However, since these are a little bit more sweeping curves, we might not have to use them. If you're unsure, go ahead and make your relief cuts. Notice I try to keep a pretty good distance away from the lines. However, if you go over your line, make sure you just keep on going, make a sweeping cut. It's not going to hurt you. If you notice on the back piece here, our curves are a much tighter arc. So we're going to have to use relief cuts. So I'm going to go ahead and plan out my cuts and make sure that I get plenty of relief cuts here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw them out. That's going to help me. Now I'm going to go ahead and make my relief cuts. Now wait for the blade to stop moving, and to make sure that I don't have any kind of a mess to step on, I'm going to get rid of my scrap here right into the trash can. And if you notice on the cut, all the little pieces fell off, and now we sand down to it. Okay, now at this point, we've already cut out our brackets, and if you would like, you can actually cut a little arc on the corner of your board instead of having it square, like we're going to do here, and I'm going to cut that now.